What's up? Like, I don't get it.
All right, Detroyer. Would you like to start? Would you like me to start?
Wait, what am I defending?
Immaterial
I'm defending that it's
existence of the
immaterial?
mind. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, all right, I'll start. What should I go with? Um, I guess I'll use knowledge argument, two-dimensional semantics argument, and I don't know, Leibniz mill. I'll go for those three arguments, and then if you want me to, I can state them if you're not familiar. I assume you're not.
No,
I'm
use
not
one
familiar with
argument,
this. Right?
bitch.
Use one
I
argument.
mean, you can go through three arguments if you want to, but I'd prefer you. Is it okay if we go argument by argument? Yeah.
Wait, what's the debate?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, just
Um,
explain them as well too, because some of those I'm not even familiar with.
Yeah, fair enough. So the first one I mentioned was the Mary's Room argument. This was an argument put forth by Frank Jackson in his 1984, I think, article, Epiphenomenal Qualia. The basic idea is this, right? If the mind is something physical, right, something that's part of this kind of material world, then you should know all the facts about the mind if you knew all the physical facts. Right?
Wait, why?
Now, because it's part of the physical facts.
Why does that
so if you
claim
knew all
follow?
the physical facts, it's because if the mind is a physical thing, right? If mental facts are physical facts, then if you knew all the physical facts, you knew all the mental facts.
I don't. Maybe I'm not understanding. What do you mean by physical facts?
Facts about all the physical things, right? Facts about physical
Oh,
things.
okay.
It's
Facts
material
about
things
maybe
in the world.
natural facts or something like that.
If you want to use that word, for the sake of brevity, I'm not giving a kind of rigorous account of what physical or natural means. But
Sure. What
have a rough idea.
What are
right?
mental facts then?
Oh, yeah, just facts about mental states, my pace state, for example, or my visual experiences, whatever.
Okay, so things that are governed by your psyche, right?
Those things are psychological or kind of phenomenal or experience-like, that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool. So can you repeat that if condition again?
Right. So if the mind, mental states were physical, they're like part of the material world, then if you knew all the physical facts, you'd also know all the mental facts.
Yeah.
The mental stuff
Basically,
just is physical.
if you knew everything about the external world, and your mind is a part of the external world, you know about your mind as well.
Yeah, but in particular, if your mind was a part of the physical external world, right? And if you know the physical facts about the external world, then you'd know.
Okay, go ahead.
Mind.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I agree. You could. Can I give a response to that claim or not?
Yeah. Well, this isn't really the main argument yet, but you can respond if you want.
Yeah, I agree. It's possible to know all the physical facts if you know, or know the mental facts if you know all the physical facts. But for example, there are physical phenomena that we don't even understand, and we have, as far as the macro world, we have all the physical. Well, what seems to be most of the relevant facts, right? And so I don't see how that's true if we're still discovering physical phenomena.
Right, but this is just the point that if we were to have all the physical facts, we would have as well the mental facts because they're kind of contained within. In the same way that you would think like all the physical facts, we didn't have all the facts about fucking stars because stars are physical things. All right, so that's just the first point. Now we're gonna imagine this scenario. So it's hypothetical, where there's this brilliant color scientist, right? Her name's Mary. And she learns sort of everything there is to know about physics, about color, vision, the brain processes, the eye, the optic nerve, and whatever, the acetylcholine optic, whatever, And she's brilliant. She learns all these physical facts, right? However, in her life, she's never seen color. She's colorblind, or she's like in a black and white room from birth, never seen any color. Okay.
Oh, are you going to talk about her quail yet? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, right? Well, here's what the argument says. If knowing all the physical facts would be sufficient to know all the facts about mind, experiences, qualia, then in the room she would know all the facts about say, experiences of color.
So she would know what red is like when she first sees it. Okay.
Yeah, so when she goes outside and suppose she now sees red for the first time, she has that new experience. If she knew all the physical facts, she wouldn't learn something new, right?
She's not. Yeah, this is an answer before. Let me just.
Yeah.
This is retarded. Yeah, she knows that the color red exists. She knows the electromagnetic wavelength that's associated with the color red. She just has an experience, right? So that phenomenology is something that's new to her. It's just qualia. That doesn't denote a new physical fact. It just denotes a sensation, right? Which isn't a fact. Okay.
Oh no,
Answered.
but
It's not a
the
fact.
point is not that she has experience that she hasn't had before. That's granted by the argument, right? The point is that she learned something about that experience that she didn't know before.
What does she learn?
Right? She learns what it's like to see red.
That's an experience. That's not a fact. You're conflating two things. That feeling or that sensation is not a fact. A fact is just something that corresponds with reality, right? Are you just saying that she?
Yeah.
Are you saying that she understands sensation?
Well, she understands something about sensations that she didn't understand before.
She experienced, right? But is
No.
phenomenology that
Her having the experience is what leads her to that understanding.
well, she experiences. To have an experience is what it means to experience. Okay,
That's right.
So what I said is right. But when she experiences that new sensation, is that a fact? That's my question. And if so, what do you mean by fact?
It is a fact that she had a new experience, right? But that's not the thing that I'm saying that she learns when she has that experience.
Then what does she learn?
The experience, she learns what it's like to see red. And what it's like to see red is not just the fact of having that experience. Having that experience leads her to develop that knowledge, right? But it is not itself.
Are you saying she felt a new feeling, and that new feeling is the fact she gains?
No. That's exactly what I'm denying, right? Of course, having a new feeling, there being a new experience that didn't occur previously, is a quote unquote new fact. But that's not the new thing she learns. She learns something new about color experiences, right?
I don't agree. It doesn't. Maybe you could write out, because I feel like you're saying the same thing twice, but explaining in one way that it's not a fact, and in the same breath using it. I think you're changing the phrasing just a bit so that it seems like she's learning something new. But would you mind writing out the two things you're saying she is and is not learning?
Okay, sure. I'm on mobile, so just taking a minute.
Because I feel like this is going to lead to something that is like tautologically what you're saying the case and not the case, right?
Yeah. So I'll just say it again quickly, and then I'll write it down. What she is learning. Sorry, there is a new fact concerning her having experience she hadn't had before, right? But that's not the relevant sort of new fact that's being learned. What's being relevant is learning something about experiences of that sort, events of that sort that she didn't know before. So let me put this down.
Could you write this down? Because I think it's going to look the exact same when you say it's not and is the case. Would you write it in Scan's chat, though? Because there's a lot of typing in the general chat.
I'm writing in the voice text or whatever, the one that's associated with the voice channel.
Awesome.
Because I don't think there's much chat in there.
Okay. And he's supposed to get 3 arguments? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I was going to give 3, but I don't know if we're going to get it. So I said the two-dimensional semantics one because it's going to require a good deal of kind of background.
I actually have seen this thought experiment before, so I guess I just didn't know the name. But...
It's one of the more well-known ones in the philosophy mind.
Yeah.
Of course, the guy who originally wrote it no longer accepts it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
What's the third one you mentioned? Bro, Juster versus a bubble should end so they can steal their activity. Get like 50 people.
Hey, stop playing. Detroyer, bro, I'm gonna teach you, bro. I'll take you under my wing after this, bro. Don't worry. Just let me know when you're ready, bro. On the game. So.
Okay, I wrote it. Let me see. Even read the parts of it, whatever.
All right. Bro, you wrote way more fast, but okay. She does have a new experience, and so it is a fact that she. Wait. This is gonna run into
I'm saying
question
that's the
begging,
one
but
that I'm
hold
saying
on.
is not the relevant meaning. Yeah.
Okay, and now you're gonna write the relevant experience or fact she learned.
Yeah, it's in the sentence after that.
Okay, she doesn't. She learned something. Okay. What's a new fact about red experience? I don't. Okay, which is that she learned something about experience. Okay, what is the phrase "what it's like to see red"? What does that mean? You can answer when you're free.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually one of my concerns with the argument, so I'm just gonna start bullshitting now. It has to do with her understanding the sort of, I don't know, phenomenal quality of the experience, and featured of it.
So you think that phenomenal? I don't know what that means, but that phenomenal quality is a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what proposition? If you were to state it in a proposition, what would that look like? Right, a fact.
One second.
What is it saying about what is it corresponding to in the world? What is that? If you were to connect it to language, what would that look like?
Yeah. So, sorry, can you hear me? I had to go.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a fact about her experience, right, or a fact about experiences of that sort, right? That they feel a certain way, that there's something it's like to have an experience of that sort. Now,
Okay. So
if
are
your
you
question
saying?
was how could we express that more kind of in, informatively in language, maybe it's not so easy to do so, but I think a lot of people understand what we're saying when we talk about what it's like to have an experience of a certain sort.
My question, I still just don't see how that corresponds to a fact, right? When we say, what's something that's not gross? What it's like to drink your first beer. You would now say I have the fact of the sensory experience of what it's like to drink that beer. But I don't see how that's a fact. What do you define a fact to be?
Right here, we're just thinking about facts as stuff that occurs or features of things, or for example, that in this, like for example, it's a fact that she had a particular experience, or that you had an experience of drinking beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's also a fact about that experience of that sort, like feel a certain way, right? And like,
Do they feel a certain? Let me ask you something more clarifying. Do they feel a certain way to specific people, or do they feel a certain way in general, as far as
so
some objective feature?
there's going to be commonalities between the experiences that different people have. Presumably, I mean, you might deny this, but like we think that although our experiences might differ in some ways, there's going to be some commonalities. For example,
Yeah, like pricking your
drinking,
finger is
right.
similar. Seems similar to a lot of people, right?
Right. So there's something general to be said about what experiences of that sort feel like, right? And not, we don't have to just appeal to individual instances to talk about like those individual feelings, you know.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. There's some similarities between sensations, but what my major question still is, what? Okay, so a fact is just something that's reported to occur in reality.
Sure. I mean,
I'm
you
trying
could
to get
think of
a solid definition, but
yeah. Look, you can think of a fact as something that's uh, is being reported by a true proposition or true claim about the world, right?
okay. I agree. It's the fact that she experienced something, right? But I think that's a state about the physical world, or the external world, right? Because that experience is something that occurred inside of. You can call it a chemical reaction. You can call it the interaction between light and matter, whatever you want to call it. But energy and matter interactions, of course, we agree are physical. Yeah.
Energy and matter interactions are physical, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's
Exactly.
the
But
whole
wait,
part of the point
let
of
me.
this.
Wait. I was trying to
Go
just
ahead.
get your yes or no so I could finish the argument. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. If that's the case, I agree with that proposition referring to some fact, but I believe it again is some, I think we just agreed, is some physical phenomena or some physical fact. Um, when she understands what it's like to experience a new color, if you want to say that feeling, let me just be clear. Are you saying that feeling in and of itself, that specific feeling, right? The seeing of red is a fact?
Well, the fact that she saw red or had an experience of that sort is a fact, right?
Okay, I think I just explained why that's a physical fact. So if that's all you're saying,
No,
maybe we
no.
could move on.
Look, I get it on your view. I think that feeling, that experience, is realized in some way by energy and matter or something, you know, maybe in the brain or something like that. And that's fine to have as a view. But the point of this argument is to try to show that that's incorrect. Because if that's all it were, then she could have all the knowledge about those sorts of facts, right? About brain processes, you know, energy and matter and so on, without having had the experience. But nevertheless, we think she learned something new when she about those sorts
But
of
doesn't
experiences when she has
okay,
it.
yeah. So if you're just saying the feeling itself is what grants some new experience, some new fact, um, I would just say, is it feasible that she's just never had that experience before, and that the only way to gain that information is through, I guess, testing or some posteriori method, which is coming into contact with, I don't know, an electromagnetic wave of like 300 nanometers, right? Whatever it is. And so that experience is something that she could have, right? So long as she posteriori verified it through coming into contact with that EM spectrum, right? I don't see the.
Yeah, right.
I
So
don't see.
there's like
Yeah, go ahead.
there's one of two things that you might be saying here, right? Either
Mhm.
you're saying that there are these facts that she just wouldn't have access to in her knowing, even though she knows physical facts, and she would need to have a particular sort of experience or investigation or to get these facts about experiences, which is actually just sort of granting the argument because it would be entailing that it would just entail that the facts in question are not part of those physical facts that she already had access to. Now, the other thing you might be saying is that there's some limitation, in principle limitation, on which physical facts she can understand absent this sort of investigation,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm.
Like what
That's
sort
what
of
I'm
physical
saying.
facts you can understand in the room.
Yeah, I'm saying
Um,
what can she
yeah,
understand a priori, her own personal experience, and certain facts she can only understand or come to know posteriori, right? And that's why I'm making that
yeah,
meaningful distinction. There's just two classes of physical facts that can become be known, right? So that's
yeah,
why I
yeah,
don't think it's a defeater in any way. But
yeah. So this is a sort of response, and there's a lot that can be said on this. I'll just say a couple of things briefly. Um,
yeah,
if we think that the physical stuff is the sort of stuff we can sort of describe third personally or with our physical theories, you know, like laws of physics and
Mhm.
whatever, biochemical descriptions and so on, then it seems weird to think that, oh, no, but there are physical things that you just couldn't understand in that way, right? There's some things that are for some still physical, special in that you can't understand them by having these sorts of descriptions of them. You need to have like experiences of a certain sort.
Yeah. Is there an
Like
issue
being
with
read.
language being so vague or so undescriptive that you need external stimuli to have reactions that match these posteriori observations, right? I don't see the issue with some description not perfectly detailing, or the vagueness of language not perfectly entailing what something feels like. I don't see an issue there, right? If I tell you how, I want to use this one
Yeah, but
example, but it's gross. But
no, but look,
okay, people say what's
hang
the
on.
feel? Wait, I wasn't done. What?
Okay, go ahead.
People say what's the feel? You know what it's like to kill a man, right? You know how that feels. You say,
Sure.
no, but you know the description, right? You know what it looks like for someone to die, right? Or you can at least imagine it, yeah. But that feeling may not come to you purely through a description. I don't see the issue with that. It seems obvious on its head, right?
Yeah, but that's actually part of what the argument is trying to appeal to. Like that's part of the argument, right? So, like, look, if early you were suggesting that these experiences are, something neurophysiological, something chemical, energy, matter, something. That's the sort of stuff that realizes our mental life. But we think, at least a lot of people think, that that's the sort of phenomena that you can describe, that you can understand without having to have like certain phenomenal experiences. You can just have the theories of physics and neuroscience and whatever in order to understand the things in question, right? So like
I mean,
the thought you would need
I
something
oh,
more to
sorry, go ahead.
understand them almost suggests that they're phenomena of a different sort, right? That aren't kind of describable wholly in
Yeah,
these
why couldn't
scientific
again?
terms.
Why couldn't they just exist in some? They can only be known, right, or understood fully through some posteriori method. I don't see the issue with that. They're physical
Well,
facts, all the same, but they just
but no. But the initial physical facts are, we're not supposed to. We can understand everything about, say, the brain a priori. No one's saying that either, right? Presumably, there needs to be some way of either investigating or receiving this information about these physical things in order for her to have this physical knowledge, right? But
okay. I don't disagree that like investigations and experiments help determine the physical world. I don't see the issue with that.
yeah, but the thought is that
I
we
don't see
could.
how it's I don't see how that's incompatible with my stance.
Yeah, but the thought is that we could, in principle, have these models and descriptions of these physical phenomena, right, and just kind of fully understand them in that sense, without having to have these further. You would, if you had those models and descriptions and so on, you wouldn't also
Mm.
have to have like some additional sort of phenomenal experience in order to
Wait,
understand
why is
actually the
that
things in
true?
question.
What do you mean by, maybe I'm not getting fully, what do you mean by models and data and things that you're referencing? What do you mean by that?
Oh, when I'm talking about model and descriptions, I'm just talking about accounts of what exists and what sort of features they have. I mean, that's what people tend to do in science, right?
I don't know what you mean by to know. Okay, so when you say you know these things, what does that mean? To say you know them because you read a description of it, basically.
So the talk about knowledge is not going to be so important here. I mean, we could just leave it as like
But
correct
you
belief
keep saying I know. Yeah, I'm just asking what you mean. I'm not really discussing it. I'm just asking for your definition.
of no.
Yeah, you say you know descriptions, and so that leads you to knowledge of the physical world. What does that mean, and how is that different from phenomenology? I'm not
Get
understanding.
him, Geass. Get him, dude.
No. So
Shut up,
so
nigga.
it's not so important. What I'm just using no in a sort of informal sense here. It's not even actually relevant because just replace any time I mentioned no with have a correct view about, because that's all that's really being
Okay, so to
uh,
understand, right?
sure.
Okay, so if you understand this thing, before she understands that there's an experience associated with seeing the color red for the first time, right, Mary? If she knows that, then she shouldn't be coming in to any new knowledge about this, about
Stop
experiencing
stuttering,
it.
bitch.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
So
a cornball, but
like you could
about
here like we
bro,
could
wait, two people just cut me off, so one of y'all gonna shut up, okay? So if yeah, so there shouldn't be anything that she knows or gains knowledge from. I think this is just presupposing the conclusion, right? Sorry, but
It's presuppose. Well, I don't know. That's what the argument's trying to show. I mean, like, look, you could try to say that what she learns, either she doesn't learn something when she has a new experience, right? She doesn't learn anything new about mental states or phenomenal experiences or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
I don't see how. Are you just saying if in the case that these things are true, the conclusion will follow, which is she'll learn something new about seeing the color red for the first time?
Yeah, she'll learn something new about qualitative experiences, right? In particular, this is what it's like to see red.
I don't know that she will. I don't. Why is that true?
So, well, one thing. I mean, I don't know. I thought we already kind of passed this, but one thing to say is just like imagine yourself in her shoes, right? You've only ever seen, say, black and white for your whole life, and then one day you see, red things for the first time. I think even if you thought that you had some sort of neurophysiological description of red qualitative experiences before, right? When you have that sort of experience, presumably you learn something new about what those experiences are like, right? You could point to the sort of experience.
I'll agree to this.
Okay,
You feel something new. Is that satisfactory?
But it's not just that you have an experience that you didn't have before, right?
I think it is. Like explicitly, yes, it is.
But that is something that happens, right? But the point is that you learn something more than just that you've had experience that you didn't have before. And so, like, let me
what's the more thing? I'm still not. I don't see it. Maybe can I ask the judge to clarify?
You learn what red experiences are like, right?
I think that it's just self-referential. I'm asking what else you're doing besides experiencing it, and you're just saying you learn the experience or what it's like to have the experience, right? And I don't know if that
to have experiences of that sort. Yeah.
I don't know if that really means anything. Right?
I mean, you were giving examples of different sorts of learnings of this already, right? You said
no. I said those experiences occur. I don't know that the feeling grants a new fact. That's what I've questioned the entire time.
No, but you already said something earlier. You gave an example about how you sort of learned what it's like when you had your first beer or something like that. And it's not just that you had first beer when you hadn't had one before.
I'm saying you experience these things. I don't know that they grant a new fact. That's the thing I'm questioning.
You don't think you learn something about experiences of that sort by having those experiences?
I think the experience exists. I don't know what it even means to say I learned this new experience.
I'm not saying you learned. I don't know that.
I don't know
you learned something about the experience. Like you learned sort of what it feels like.
I don't know what this. I don't know what you mean by something about the experience. Could you clarify in specific if there was some word or some group of words that you learn about the experience?
When I say about the experience, I'm like, look, we're both agreeing that these experiences occur. There's stuff, we have experiences, right?
Yes.
And they have different features, right? You can, in principle, talk about and come to understand the different features that these experiences have or can have, right? And all I'm saying is that she learns something new about experiences of that sort when she has that experience. In the same way that you kind of learn some sort of what it feels like
question begging. I'm sorry, I don't. Can we just move on because I feel like this has gone into the same circle like 80 times. Judge, do you want to judge the point? Yo.
Yeah, no. I mean, do you want me to present another argument, or do you want to present an argument? I don't know.
We don't have to, because if you win that point, then I would have to defend my side. So there's no point in you presenting 3 arguments if you win one. So.
Fair enough. Did you want to present one?
Well, if you defended your stance, I would need to defend mine. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could just wait on that and just I presented an argument, maybe you present it. We can go from there.
Yeah, we could do that. Do you want to? You there?
D1, are you there, James?
Yo.
Sounds like a no.
His name isn't
Yeah.
King. His name is the God D1 of debating.
What the fuck?
Sorry, guys. Philosophy D1 is not here at the moment. Sorry for the inconvenience. Geass and Detroyer continue debate. Go ahead.
How are we gonna get judgment if he's not here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Just
Is that
pray
him?
to D1 spirit and
Oh,
hope they
yo,
give you
D1,
enough
yo,
chocolate.
would you want to give? Okay,
D1.
can I these niggas chill out? Yo, D1, you can give a judgment and your insight onto the point.
Y'all want to get conclusions or no?
Do you want us to?
Yeah, sure. So I don't miss anything.
Are we ending it there, or
Alright.
just want us to summarize it thus far?
Hey, my D1. What the hell? Why you sound like that?
Do you have anything new you want to add, Detroyer?
On that particular argument, or just like on
Yes,
the issue
that
in
particular
general?
argument.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I could say, but I'm just fine to leave it there for now.
All right, you're content with that?
Sure.
All right, yeah. Just if you don't mind, give a summary of the argument and then why you think you won that argument.
Yeah. So again, the argument I was giving was in favor of mental stuff being apart from the physical stuff, right? In other words, and the way the argument is this, right? Suppose we could imagine someone that had all the physical facts, in particular, all the sort of physical facts about, color vision and brain processes and whatever you think might be relevant to experiences of color. And if color experiences were just physical things, then she would have all the facts about color experiences because she has all the facts about the relevant physical stuff. But you can imagine someone that did have all those physical facts, did all know all the physical facts, but had never, say, experienced red or experienced any color at all, and one day does experience color for the first time. The idea is that she learns something new about color experiences. She learns what it's like to have an experience of that sort. She knows what it feels like, and so on. And that's not something she already knew, right? Despite having all the physical facts in the room. And so the upshot of this argument is that if it's right, as I think it is, or as at least arguing that it is, the facts, at least those facts about experiences, are not physical facts. They've got to be something else, right? Because she would have, if they were physical facts, she would have known them, but she doesn't, right? Or she didn't before going outside. And I got a few responses from Geass here about in sort of trying to undermine this. He said something about, it wasn't quite clear to him what this new fact is supposed to be. And so I thought I gave a decent sort of description about, learning what it feels like to have different experiences. And I thought he gave an example already, learning what it feels like to have a beer for the first time. So I don't know why that would be in contention. He said something about, well, maybe she doesn't actually learn anything new. But I don't know why that would be. How do we explain what she apparently learns about the experiences that she didn't know before? Are we saying that either in principle there's some limitation on what physical knowledge she could have in the room? I gave some reason to think that would be incorrect in terms of what we think these physical theories could in principle target. That is all the physical phenomena. Or do you think that what the facts in question she did already know? But that just seems wrong because, again, you could imagine her being in that room with all those physical descriptions in terms of neurons and whatever, and she still learns something new when she has that first experience for the first time. So I think, all in all, I think really the argument sort of seems pretty plausible and nothing really forceful was levied against it. That's where I think I won that point.
Damn. All right, cool. Yeah. So, basically, I think there are two issues that arrive, with the thought experiment that's presented. So mainly, the first one is that I don't believe it was substantiated that there necessitates some condition on which basically you can have facts that are known a priori or descriptions of facts and posteriori facts, so things you can know only through your first experience, right, or qualia. So I didn't hear a reason as to why this must be the case. So, or essentially why it is even plausible, right? So if there are facts that just can't be known outside of phenomenology, right, your first experience, that would justify why this supposed fact wasn't known to Mary before she first experienced it, right? And I don't know that there was an adequate reason or justification for why she must experience this thing. So this if condition, right, or this thought experiment follows. And then the other issue I had was, do we know that she even would gain a fact just from experiencing? So I try to get, I guess, a steady definition of what fact means. And I don't know that there was ever really one certain standard that was specific. And so if it's the case that there's no justification for why she must gain a new fact, it just seems that this thought experiment presupposes that she will gain a new fact, in which case um, there's no essentially connection between her having that first experience and there being a necessary fact gained because she saw red for the first time. I agree the experience exists. I don't know that there was ever even an explanation as to why that first experience leads to some fact, right, or some truth about reality. Yeah. So, all right. D1 can judge.
D1, thank you for feeding us daily with the bread that you give us. Thank you for creating this amazing debating community with your philosophy knowledge, D1. I pray to you every day at 7:35 p.m., hoping that you come fuck my mom, because I want to have a brother like you, D1. Thank you.
Yeah, nah, that was completely unreal.
The fuck is wrong?
Who named him James D1 Drummond?
James D1.
All right, can we start? What's up?
Yeah, whoever did that is crazy. Nah, that boy written is a beast, bro. Yeah. James,
Can we run it up? What's up?
James the Ramadan. Yeah.
D1, I beat my mom up yesterday
Yo,
because
yo,
she didn't like
Geass, bro.
you.
Yo, Geass, bro.
D1, I
Why?
punched the fuck out my sister, dog, because she said that you were a bad debater, D1. I
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
in you, D1.
Yeah, wait, I
Please
gotta
save us.
wait,
Save us, D1.
wait.
This
Save us,
nigga's
D1,
weird.
please.
That's
Save us,
Damar?
D1, please.
Is that
No,
Damar?
Anyways,
If
yo, should I unmute Swooza? Yes or no?
no, kick that nigga up out of here.
Nah, bro. Yo, Swooza, bro.
D1 worse debater than Kong.
Yo, Gabriel, bro. He said you can, bro. Gotta ask y'all for redemption. I'm sorry. But
Yo, D1, where you at, bro?
Are we done with this?
yeah.
I mean, if we don't get a judgment, I mean, I don't see how we'll continue.
Well, the chart could present another argument, or you could talk about your reason as to why we should accept materialism or physicalist account of the mind.
If D1's not listening, how do we get a judgment?
Because D1 is omnipresent. His
Bro.
philosophy knowledge goes to the bound of every corner of Earth. D1
No,
is with us
no,
at
the
all
reason,
times.
no,
He's
the reason why D1 isn't given judgment is because he has an issue with his mom.
Right?
Damn.
What's it called?
He has a microphone issue?
Honestly,
I thought
bro,
you said
you know
mom.
Swaggy or whatever your name is, Waggy or whatever your name is, Haggy or the guy with the Kanye DFB.
Are you fucking retarded?
I'm gonna call you the guy with the Kanye
That
DFB.
says Huey, you idiot.
He's a fucking
Okay.
somebody ban that nigga.
Well, shut up, dummy.
Can't
Anyways, that's
read.
what I'm saying. Actually, what I'm saying, shut up, mummy. Anyways, you know what? I'll switch places with Bubbles, and then we'll just debate right now since you're debating Jester, and then whoever wins that will just debate Bubbles.
I
Oh,
thought I
by the
already said that
way,
there's no
Seraph is not
switching in the
responding.
tournament.
Well,
Unless somebody
bro,
fills
Bubbles,
up a spot for somebody that's not there, then yeah, but that means that this person that's filling in the spot was already not in the tournament. You're already in the tournament.
Dear.
Oh, can I
Damn.
fill a spot? I'm bored anyway.
Damn.
You'd have to. The only spot
Yeah.
open right now is against Reaper.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yo, no.
Is it a real $100 or
Ask Apollo.
Apollo?
Hey, what's good?
Is that a real like prize or is it a fake prize?
No, it literally is real. I literally
Who's
announced him and
supplying
looked it up.
this? Who's supplying this real
Yo,
prize?
Wait. Apollo. Bubbles
Oh,
isn't
wait.
responding to me yet.
Where's D1 at?
Bro,
What do you
Bubbles
mean
is debating
real?
Jester
Yeah.
right now. He's not gonna
Oh
respond to
yeah,
you
I
right now.
forgot. Me and Bubbles are debating later on Infinite Speed and
Oh
Arthur. I'm gonna
god,
spam him.
yes or not doing that.
Okay.
So, do you guys just want to continue from here on? Because D1 can just judge the recording. The VC just waiting on you guys to continue.
Oh, okay. All right, sure. Yeah. Detroyer, you want to give another argument, or would you just like me to present mine?
I mean, I think it makes more sense for you to present one, but I could do one as well. Another one.
All right, yeah. But so, mind body problem. Do you have an issue with it?
Yeah, you're talking about like the heart problem?
What?
Do you guys still need me? Had got a phone call, but so I heard most
Yeah.
of Geass' conclusion. I heard your conclusion, but I already all had a summary who won that point. Basically, I didn't really hear anything confirm your argument to be this. Geass' question two things: experience is a fact itself, or is just you just experience, right? And I didn't really hear an argument for why the experience would be a fact in itself rather than it being a fact about the experience, right? And you at the end of your conclusion about saying that fucking if you have fucking physical facts about the world that can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
We can hear you,
Yeah.
God. We can hear you,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, you say you have physical facts about the world, right? That you have, bro. Who changed my fucking names to James? Bro, stop fucking.
Apollo, bro, you gotta control the trolls, bro. We giving you some activity, talent. You gotta control it.
Right.
All right, so looks like I won that. Is it okay if I present my one argument or?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, do you have a issue with the mind body problem? The Descartes mind body problem.
I'm not sure. Like, Descartes construed mind and body in a way which just like almost by definition made them distinct, right? Because mind was something like res cogitans, which is non-extended substance, and the body
Body
is
is extended substance. Yeah.
extended substance. So like something couldn't be one and both, right?
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not assuming that that's true. So I'm not, fully endorsing his views about
Yeah,
mind.
but okay. You agree. Okay. Okay. So do you agree that there is the claim? There's the intrinsic claim that there's interaction between the immaterial and material when we talk about mental states or some immaterial mental state affecting our physical reality.
Yeah, I think mind interacts with the world.
Okay. Yeah. Just categorically, does it not seem the case, at least on its head, that the immaterial is going to have an issue interacting with something that's material?
I don't see why that would be. Look,
Because our observations demonstrate that physical matters and the change in energy essentially is what causes interactions in the physical world.
so I'm not going to deny that we have evidence for physical interaction. I just don't see why that would undermine immaterial interaction with the physical stuff.
Yeah. But, okay, wait, hold up. My point is just to prove that physical interactions are what dominate physical interactions. Yeah.
I'm not going
agree
to
on
dispute
that?
that. I'm not going to
Okay,
dispute
sorry.
that most kind of interactions with the physical stuff is with other physical stuff. But
Okay,
I
so
don't
we
think
have
that shows
okay,
that,
yeah, all right,
that mental
that's easy
stuff doesn't
claps.
interact.
Yeah, that's easy claps. But that was the point of your argument, right? So as long as I purport that the majority, right, I think we agree, the majority of physical interactions are determined by uh, physical and energy states that are changing and fluctuating, then that's all I need to prove. That means I have the preponderance of
No.
evidence. Wait, let me finish. As long as I don't need to conclusively, the point is to determine who has the likeliest or strongest argument, not to conclusively or deductively say yours is categorically or modally impossible. So as long as I have the preponderance, I have the inductively strong argument. You have that's the point of your argument, is to prove your point to some standard above mine. So my standard's higher than yours. I win.
Yeah, but I don't know. But nothing you've said supports your view over mine, right? Because again, that
Yes, it
conclusion
does.
is entirely compatible with mine. Right?
D1, are you listening? D1, are you listening? Are you listening to this?
So let me explain why. Let me explain why that is.
Yeah.
Because like on my view, right, there are many physical interactions, between physical stuff and other physical stuff. But there's also some mental interaction with physical stuff, and it's a two-way street, of course.
That's the point of
That
your
doesn't.
argument, though, right?
Yeah,
To
but
prove
that's
those
entirely
interactions.
consistent. But that's entirely consistent with the fact that I'm granting that most interaction with physical stuff are with other physical stuff. So what? There's still mental stuff, not physical stuff,
Yeah,
interacting sometimes
I
with
know
physical stuff.
I know that's your claim, but that's the point of your argument, right? So if you don't fulfill that argument, right, which was the point of the last argument, and I'm
Yeah,
showing
but
the
now you're going back.
preponderant. Wait, Detroyer, I let you go. Can you wait?
Sure.
So if I show the preponderance of, let's just say we take the set of interactions to say if we were to take a gambit, right? We look at okay, no, 1 out of 100 interactions, 95% or whatever large percentage you want to grant to physical interactions. That means that if we're talking about brain activity and neurochemistry, there's a likelihood these interactions are going to be physical. So just off of that probability, I have the stronger argument, right? Out of the general set of interactions, the vast majority are physical, like we just established. So if you can't
Yeah.
defend with your argumentation why we can even have mind body problem solutions, then that means my argument's stronger than yours.
So at best, my most charitable reading of this is that you're trying to make a sort of inductive argument, something like, look,
Yeah, that's what I said
all of these.
explicitly. Yes.
Right. So you're saying something like this. We agree that there's all these physical interactions, between physical stuff and other physical stuff. And so we just infer that all interactions with physical stuff is with other physical stuff?
No. Induction is just saying there's a stronger likelihood or a higher probability to this interaction being one of physical, which the one in question is the idea of the psyche and the body, right? Which is a mind body
Right.
problem. Okay. So that we agree that's an interaction. Okay. The group or the set of interactions is highly or largely likely to be physical. So if your argument does not go through, then I have the overwhelming majority of interactions. Therefore, my argument is much, much stronger than yours, just on a likely or balance of probability.
Yeah, so I'm not granting the inductive generalization. I'm also not granting the claim that we don't have.
You don't have to
other
grant it.
reasons.
It's just I won. Like I'm winning the argument, so it's true. What the fuck?
No, let me explain. Right. Again, my model is going to agree with your inductive base. Right. In other words,
Okay, so I won. GG.
my view is going to agree that most of the interactions in question are between physical things. Right. You want to say, oh, that gives us good reason to think that these other things, these other interactions, are also between physical things, i.e., between mental stuff and physical stuff. But that's false on my model. They're not, and I'm not granting that inference.
Your
right?
model is based on your argumentation. If you don't win the argument, you okay? Wait. We went through this 3 times. Let's just
No.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Hang on,
maybe?
but the success of your argument against my model doesn't require, I don't need to defend the argument in support of my model in order to refute your argument here. Right? There's nothing you said that is an argument against my model. It's because again, the inductive base I agree with.
Oh my god, the argument. No, I want to leave it to the judge.
The arguments.
I want to leave it to the judge, but the model against your model is the fact that we agree that most of the set of interactions are on a physical basis or grounds, right? So that doesn't.
But that's
it
but
is
that's
an
true
argument that's winning.
How can that be an argument against my model when it's something true on my model? That's something that my model entails, right?
Your
So
your model can agree in part with mine, but mine occurs more frequently, or on a balance of probabilities, it occurs more likely, right? So that means that I have the
both of our models
stronger
entail
argument and stronger model.
No, both of our models entail the same data, right? Regarding the general preponderance of physical interaction. Where they disagree is whether all physical, in particular, interaction between the mental and the physical.
You're not
is
understanding.
Just
Let's just move on.
well.
Let's move on. Yo, Judge, can you give a judgment?
This is a basic misunderstanding of how these objective.
He's not getting it. Judge, can you give a judgment?
Yeah, D1, give your.
Yeah, conclude first. Thanks.
All right. Would you like to go first, Detroyer, or would you like me to?
You go first.
All right. So we looked at the set of all interactions. I grant there's a possibility his argument will win. My argument isn't that definitively, deductively, modally, it's impossible for mind-body interaction. What I'm saying is there's a preponderance or a likelihood that the interactions we've ever observed or have ever proven in any way, which was agreed on, are physical. Yeah, they're physical interactions. So I have the likelihood that the interaction that's occurring here between the brain and you can call it the brain. I'm calling it the brain. He calls it the mind. And the body is physical. So I have the likelihood of the set of interactions. This specific one out of the set, that's what a probability is, has a higher preponderance or likelihood to be physical interactions. Okay. He has a mental interaction with the physical. That one, he lost his argument. So it's damn near zero. And even if he did, we still grant that the vast majority are physical interactions. So I win, haha, man and a boo boo.
Yes, I mean this one's really straightforward to explain the error here. He tried to give an objective argument in favor of all mental physical interactions being physical interactions. The problem was that his inductive base, right, the general preponderance of interactions being physical, is something entailed by my model, right? So appealing to that in order to undermine my model is going to just do no work at all. It's just part of my model, right? So the fact that most interactions are physical is fine, right? My model just is going to disagree on whether all of them are physical, and in particular, whether mental physical interactions are physical interactions. And the failure of his argument to undermine this position doesn't require that I really successfully defend that the mind is nothing non-physical, or that the Mary's room argument succeeds. This argument just fails on this right out the gate because it appeals to something that's already granted, in fact, entailed by my model.
Yeah.
I'll just add something really quickly.
This is about to be easy claps.
I'll just add something really quickly, which is that.
But Geass, you actually lost the point though, like literally.
No, let's let the judge. Let's let the judge judge. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's add one more quick point about the probability here.
Sure.
That if we're granting, which I'm doing, that of the set of all interactions, right, most of them are physical interactions. I'm just granting that as true. That if you randomly selected from that set, more likely you'd pick something in the physical interaction set. That's just like a trivial factor probability. Of course, that doesn't support the inference that if you select an interaction which involves mental stuff, then more likely it'll be an interaction between physical stuff and physical stuff. In fact, that's something that's false on my model, even though the first probability statement is true. Anyway, I don't want to ramble too much about that.
Yeah, I don't understand how him appealing to your own model now denounces his argument. You want to explain why?
Sorry, was that a question?
Can I just clarify the argument? Because like Detroyer speaks at like the speed of fucking like he's like speaks so slow.
Okay. Right, could you repeat that question?
I just clarify your argument because like D1 is trying to understand your arguments and Geass, he doesn't get the arguments at all.
So my response to Geass here was just to point out that he's presenting this inductive argument. He appeals to the general preponderance of interactions in the world being between physical things, in order to infer that probably mental interactions with the world are also physical interactions with the world, right? And the problem with that, or at least the main problem with that I was raising, was that my model agrees that most of the interactions in the world are between physical things, right? So appealing to that in order to infer that mental interactions with the world are also physical things is just going to carry no force against my model, right? It's just something true on my model, but the inference doesn't.
One way his argument would have some sort of probability force would be if it was to be, if his argument basically demonstrates that the majority of physical interactions, which are caused by other physical interactions, is categorized or under the category of a mental cause for those physical interactions. But all his argument is saying is that majority of physical interactions in the world is causally interacted, or I guess you could say influenced by other physical interactions. But it could be the case that these physical interactions, which all of these physical interactions within this data pool, which interacts with or influences these other physical interactions, are not mental at all, right? And if that was to be the case, then it's not going to be raising the probability of the idea that the mind is most likely material. That doesn't work. That's so
now
yeah.
the judge can the judge now? So yeah.
Yeah, the judge was basically asked for clarity, so he gave his clarity, and I just clarified his arguments. Pretty simple one. Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah,
The judge can give a
Apollo,
judgment.
you're kind of premeditating his argument because that's kind of not what he said during the debate. Maybe you're like
I said
taking
it's
his
after he
argument,
said it, actually.
maybe you taking his argument a little bit further to what he was trying to get to, but that's not what he was saying.
No, it's because I expressed myself better than him. That's the reason. That's the Detroyer's only fault is his rhetoric. But
If he didn't say that, then that's
his fault.
right?
Hall of Fame, Dick Cook.
Yeah, but that's not saying that he wasn't saying that, because he said that I said that right after he just verbatim said the exact thing I was saying. Right? It's granted under his view that. Go ahead, Dylan.
All I'm saying is that I can't grant that's what he was getting at if that wasn't like explained during the debate. And I asked him
Well, it
what was his argument.
He verbatim said in the debate that his model grants the idea that majority of physical interactions are basically causally influenced by other physical interactions. But the point is whether majority, for one, Geass has to basically show why majority. Wait, hold on there a second. Geass basically has to show why majority of mental interactions are influenced by physical facts, which he has not shown. He just showed why majority of physical interactions are influenced by physical facts, which doesn't really pertain to the debate about about the ontology of mental facts or the mind, I should say, and whether majority of mental interactions are causally influenced by physical facts, thus demonstrating some form of synthetic identity between the mind and brain states or neuropsychological states or physical states, right? That's what you need to be demonstrated. Yeah.
Let me state it even simpler, right?
Wait, how is he getting three conclusions? What the?
Okay, whatever. Just end it.
That's
whatever, I don't care.
He just remember D1 is not understanding his argument. He asked for clarity, so D1 is trying to. Sorry, not D1. Destroyer is trying to clarify his arguments. Very simple. All right.
Yeah, let Destroyer try to clarify, please.
Okay, right. So, just to be clear, here's some facts about my model, right? I think that there are mental events in the world, right? There's mental experiences and so on, and sometimes those lead to interactions in the world, right? We do things because we want to do something, or and vice versa. There's some impact on us from the physical world. Impact that I meant to say from the physical world. However, it's also true on my model. Most of the stuff going on in the world is interactions just between purely physical stuff, right? Okay, right? Because all this stellar revolution, blah blah, none of that's mental, but that's going to dominate the universe. Okay, now he wants to point to the fact that look, we agree that most of the interactions going on in the world are between physical stuff. So we're going to infer that also the interactions between mental stuff and physical stuff is just interactions between physical stuff as well. And so mental stuff is physical stuff. But that's inference is just incorrect on my model, right? I'm granting the first fact that most of the interactions are between physical stuff, but not all of them are. You just asserted that all of them are just because some are. And that's not true on my model. And nothing he said gave me any reason to think that all of them would be, just because those ones are.
Yeah, there's a recording in here. I'm gonna have to check back the recording and look over that argument a little more, because I don't think that's what was actually argued in the debate, and I need to double check that. So for right now, I'm a point in con for now.
All right, so I get 1 point. Detroyer 0. Okay, easy claps.
That seems fair.
Yeah, you did good though, Detroyer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not a fair judgment, but I mean,
Okay,
I don't
but
know.
by the way, D1, the funny thing is though, I don't have an issue with you judging in con. But I'm curious about, I didn't hear the explanation for the first points really, because, I think the first point was much closer, but I didn't hear the explanation for why Geass won that one.
Oh yeah,
Or if you don't remember that part. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what he was trying to grant Geass denied in the first place, and I don't think Detroyer gave evidence to prove his why these experiences are actually facts instead of them just experience on their own.
Oh, so the three of you guys,
by the way, that's not even what I said. So,
the three of you guys, wait, hold on there a second. The three of you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, right? So basically, I guess Detroyer proposed the thought experiment, and Detroyer is basically trying to establish that even if a particular agent was acquainted with all the physical facts, right, like regarding experiences and what it is like to have these private mental tropes, whatever you might call it, right, it would still be the case that the act of experiencing a red object for the first time is something which is plausibly distinct or of another epistemic category from the epistemic acquaintance one has with all the physical facts regarding experiences. And if that was to be the case, then it points out some ontological distinction. And because of this plausibility, which cannot be explained under Geass's view, then it serves a good reason to believe that there's a disparate ontology. Therefore, Detroit's view is more plausible. I don't see how Geass won that at all.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, actually, to what I was saying. Yeah, the point being that, look, she has all the physical facts. She knows all of them in the room, but she learns something new about experiences when she has this experience for the first time. She learns what it feels like.
Question
or what
that
it's like
if
to have
she would,
that's
ever
the point of distinction, that he questioned whether this thing is a fact or not, or just a base experience. And I didn't hear an argument for why it's a fact. All you said
then I
was
question
that
if she could even
she
do
experienced
that.
something new.
Yeah, so it was, we discussed. I mean, I don't know if we want to really go back to this, but it was discussed.
We're getting like new arguments. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, you guys can go new arguments, but the debate technically didn't really finish because, I mean, if it is a case that the second point is in con, and it is a case that the first point is judged in Geass won, which I don't think he did, right? Then neither of the positions are being established to be true in this context, right? Because it still has to be established whether physical is true, or it is true that the mind is non-physical.
D1, let me talk to the judge then. So, would you go by points, D1, if it is in con, or would we still just go on to presenting more arguments?
I mean, if the stances aren't proven, but you did win 1 point, then probably you would be declared the winner. But I still got to check back for the second point to see what was argued in Detroyer's favor, because I don't think what Apollo's saying is directly what Detroyer argued within the debate. I think he's kind of.
I didn't hear the word causal one time.
No, it's called clarifying. So when I clarify what Detroit is saying, it's going to sound different in the sense where I'm using slightly different word exchange or syntax, but it's still conveying the same exact idea. But as I was going to say, D1, Mr. James, are you listening? Yeah, as I was going to say, right, I was just basically clearing up the idea that the trial is basically saying that the plausibility of this thing being a new experience, which would be distinct from the other experiences that agent has an epistemic acquaintance with, would demonstrate that they aren't identical. Because remember, under Geass's view, he's basically argued that the mind and physical facts share synthetic identity, meaning that based on the traits of the mind, it is identical to physical facts, but not in a conceptual a priori sense. But under Detroyer's thought experiment, basically puts that view not only puts that view into question, but presses the physicalists into a sticky situation where they can't explain or give a good explanation as to why this thought experiment would plausibly demonstrate a disparate ontology between mind and physical states, right? But obviously, you guys have disagreements on that. So,
my question is, how is he presenting his stance to hold any weight if he lost the point of defending his stance in any way? If he loses that point, how is he establishing
that?
Someone
said that. Wait, I wasn't waiting on the chart. So basically, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that anyone won this debate based on the judgments thus far. Right? I'm just basically asserting that if it is the case at the first point, because remember, you guys even said that Sure could potentially go over 3 arguments, right, for the immateriality of the mind. But if it is a case that, let's say Detroyer lost the first point, right, but your points regarding the truthiness of the physicalist account of the mind is also unestablished because he hasn't given any verdict in your favor with respect to you proving your position. And it's going to remain the case that both positions are unestablished from an epistemic standpoint. So then there would be no actual winner of this debate because what the debate is just proving a position and not the positions have been proven.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I agree if it's in con, then of course, right, we would both not have a winning stance. But what I'm saying is his denial of my stance is dependent on whether he can prove his at all. So when he says,
wait. Let me clarify that. That's not correct.
Yeah, that's not correct.
My question would be, how is he defending that? Him categorically describing the mental, I don't know how he wants to put it, but mental and physical interactions holds any weight, right? His definition what would it be based on?
I don't even understand what you're asking.
Or the truth. That's
what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm saying.
Let me clarify. The truth of your definition, right? When you say, well, I grant that, or I don't grant that mind-body interactions can occur based on what, though, is kind of my question.
Right. Of course, I think that mind-body interactions can occur. So why would I be denying that?
Oh, sorry, that they can occur, forgive me.
Wait, I think this was answered because remember, Geass, when you asked him, he said that based on our intuitions,
it is plausible. The debater.
Yeah, but I'm basically saying that the question you asked was kind of like it was already answered. You've already granted that it's possible in the debate. So
can I just get clarification from the debater?
Sure, go
we
ahead.
agreed to a judge and a debater, not a second mod.
Yeah, so if you just ask me why that it's possible that mind and body interact, well, the trivial point is just the point that it's not ruled out by logic or concepts, right? So
you're arguing from logical possibility?
Yeah, very simple.
Well, I mean, when you ask me if it's possible, I mean, what are you asking?
No, wait, okay, judge. I didn't get that in the debate. Where are we deriving the standard for logical possibility now?
This isn't something that came up in the debate. You just asked me whether it's possible, and I just said it's both logically and conceptually possible. If you're asking whether it's possible in another sense, clarify which sense, and I'll tell you if I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is I feel like I'm getting some clarification that wasn't given, but
you're just
let me just ask the judge. I think I'm getting some clarity into arguments that wasn't stated. Maybe I'm tripping, but
say that again.
Do you feel like some of the clarity here wasn't stated before?
Yeah, that's why.
What I just said wasn't stated before, but that's because you didn't ask
I'm
me
getting like
before.
Nuanced points I was not getting like a minute ago.
Yeah, I want to. That's why I want to look back.
You just asked me something new. That wasn't something we discussed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just brought up the possibility parts. So yeah, you're gonna get something new if you brought up something new.
Apollo's debating for him. Oh my god! Like I did not ask.
No, I'm not.
You didn't repeat what I just said. You just repeated what I said.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh my god!
He just said a while ago that you brought up something new.
Am I getting debate ground right now?
Yeah,
this guy.
Are y'all continuing or are you leaving it here?
We can. So it would depend on how your judging style works. So if it is based on the point, and I win the first point and the second one's income, then that would be it. But it just depends on how your style, whether you're going winning off a point or proving a stance.
Yeah, I'm gonna check back the recording for the first argument, and if you won that, then you will win. If you lost that, then it'll just be incon then.
Yeah, it would be tied. Well, I guess we both win. Okay.
Wait, but do you want to go over Detroyer's other arguments and your other arguments? If you have any other arguments, Geass?
I just had one, but I could give. I don't know.
Because remember you guys said that you could go over 3 arguments, so
yeah, pretty interesting. Bro, okay, wait. I'm getting debate. Detroyer, do you want to go over your?
I'm proposing an offer.
Am I getting debate ground?
Why are you asking D1 for confirmation? Can you not think for yourself, bro?
I'm happy to understand. because
I'm just
I only
preparing the
had,
offer with what we agree with. What are you talking
I only had one real argument. So Detroit, if you want to give more, you're welcome to, but I didn't
quote
really have
unquote
more
real
I
argument.
wanted to present.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, no, I don't. We can go over it another time. I'm happy to leave this here.
Sure.
Whatever else you do.
If by chance it was in con, would you want to, I guess, just restart or do something else?
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
really
please
care or
got
give
this.
these fucking debate judgments. So yeah, I don't care about that.
Oh, okay. I mean, okay. So if it's in con, I guess we would debate another time.
If you want to, it
I
doesn't
mean,
matter to me. If you want to
I
debate
did
with the
say
board
I
another
did
time,
say
we can
to
definitely
be
do
honest.
another time. I don't care about the
You're
judgment.
okay. You're just saying you would debate any other time regardless.
That's right.
All right, cool.